How did you get into making saxophones?
We just threw ourselves into it. It was an idea. We had some crazy ideas that no one had thought about or had done before. A lot of it had to be with acoustic things inside the instrument and that kind of thing. And so we experimented in our kitchen. The story goes that we got this old beat-up saxophone that one of our local stores lent to us, and we went after it, and we went in and we started using different files and different things to change the airflow on the inside of the instrument. After a while, it got to where we couldn't tell the difference between the professional saxophone that I was playing and this old beat-up clunky saxophone.
So he would play a line, and he'd play the same line on this saxophone, and then he'd play the same line
Cheryl was turned around in the kitchen.
He'd play it on a vintage saxophone that we had, and I'd say that one is the second horn.
The second horn.
The second horn.
Yeah.
And that one is the first horn.
Yeah. And a lot of times, after a while, she couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah. So that's how we started.
So yeah, we took those ideas, and we needed someone to help us figure out how to make the saxophone. So we did a research back in the day. It was in '96. And the way you talked with factories all over the world was the fax machine, believe it or not. And so we got some ideas of some places to go and went up to the University of Utah, opened a book, found a lot of different manufacturers, and ended up 3 months later in Taiwan. And we visited a bunch of factories, some that we felt kind of had an idea, at least from our experience of how to put an instrument together, and some didn't really have that much idea. And we ended up with 3 different people that built instruments for us in the beginning, and they were prototypes.
So we went from the 3 down to 1.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of testing on that. We started our company in 1996, but the prep for that starting happened much earlier than that. Well, some earlier than that.
Yeah.
It could have even been 1994, and then we visited Taiwan in 1995. We came up with the first prototype that we wanted to keep in 1996 and opened our company. So in the beginning, we worked out of our house, and we had, every time a shipment would come, we hired
How did a shipment come?
Well,
it was crazy. We were in
okay.
a residential area, and a great big container would come down the street, and they'd drop it off in front of our house, and all the neighbors would go, "What is going on in the Lockett's house?" And then we hired all the neighborhood kids. We kind of lived in this Leave It to Beaver little circle thing, and all the neighborhood kids would come over, and they'd help us huck them down the stairs.
Well, we didn't huck them, just so we all know. Let's be
okay.
careful about that.
Very careful. You'd take them down the stairs into the basement.
It got to be so that it was so crowded in our house, you just have to kind of walk like this, through it wasn't just down in the basement. It was.
Yeah.
And at that point, we moved to a bigger place, and then we've moved to a bigger place since.
Yeah.
So anyway, we've always loved the innovation, and one of the things that we did, and that Tevis, I'm going to give you credit for this. You took some bells and pounded them out into different kinds of sizes of what we call today the big bell. Yeah. So it was varying degrees of how
growth
it came out, and the lip of the bell, how big that was, how fast the taper was, and then you'd play it, and you soldered it, pounded it out, soldered it, and then we put it together molds on the horn. Well, before we did molds. Yeah, before we did molds. So then we put it on the, and then you'd play.
On the basic horn that we had, we took the bow and the bell off, and then we actually put this new ugly thing that I had pounded out on the horn, and all of a sudden, wow, this great big sound, and it was really fun.
It was really fun. And out of all of those, I'd have my back turned again, and I'd say, number three wins. And it was like, well, why? And I said, because that has the most even timbre. And so that was really important, and it was just some fun. We still do stuff like that today. It's really fun business that we love. We love this business.
Absolutely.